welcome to our meeting. I'd like to say that we probably don't have any strangers here. You just probably got a lot of friends here you haven't met yet. So look around the room, be familiar with who you are. And speaking of being familiar, you know, schools are closed tomorrow. Weather is kind of questionable. I understand our county manager is going to make a decision early in the morning. And but be that as it may, we would hope that our residents of Cumberland County would be very cautious and listen to what you're being told, and please be safe and drive carefully and take care of yourselves and your families. Sometimes we have, we have deputies out in the hallway, and I always want to make sure we take time to thank those around us from the Sheriff's Office that's protecting us. And Judge, it's good to see you here this evening. At this time, I'm going to do the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will move into our business, okay, portion of our meeting. If you please stand. Father, we thank you for everyone that's gathered here this evening. Thank you that you know our names, and you have blessed each of us, and you have allowed us to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you, and our trust is in you completely in all that we do. We'd ask that you'd fill our lives with love. Fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Fill this meeting with your presence, and come bless this gathering with unity, with hope, and with vision. Grant each of us the humility to always see your will in all that we say and all that we do. Come and lead us to a greater awareness of those around us. Open our eyes to see the gifts and talents and problems and concerns. Encourage us to become a community that's built on compassion and respect for all. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could draw your attention over to the front row. We have some special guests with us this evening. We'd like to recognize Aaron Harrison and Nicole Washington. They are from the Federal Cumberland County Youth Council. They are members. We see a lot of them from time to time. They're certainly always welcome. And we'd like for you just to tell us a little bit and welcome as always.
Well, hello, I'm Nicole Washington. I attend Pine Forest High School, and I've been in the Youth Council for 2 years.
I'm Aaron Harrison. I'm a senior at Grace Creek High School. I've also been in the council for 2 years now.
And the good news is you don't have school tomorrow. The bad news is you're probably going to be going on Saturdays, Sundays, afternoons, mornings, weekends, and everything else. But thanks for being with us this evening, okay?
Thank you.
God bless you. That's right. Look at it.
Oh, he won't.
You've not changed one bit. Congratulations. Praise Christ. Good to see you. Anything with him?
Jealousy down on that
I think we should make a different rule about taking pictures.
There is no rule. There is no rule.
Well, we need to do that to a policy committee.
At this time, we have recognition of the Cumberland County Public Library and Information Center for receiving the 16-17 Public Relations Promotional Project Award and the Adult Program Award for Libraries in Size and in State. I'm sure you're going to hear a little bit more about that. Commissioner Adams is our liaison, and he's worked very closely, and welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Come right on up, Brian and Jody, who is our director of our library. And you will see, I love my library. I hope everybody gets one. We've got 8 locations throughout the county. Oh, there we go. There you go. Y'all come right on up here with me. And I will tell you that, and for the commissioners, that I went to the library conference up in Winston-Salem, and I will tell you that we have an award-winning library system right here in Cumberland County that's second to none. It's because of the trustees that serve on that board, Brian Tyler and those, and Jody Richardson, who is our director. So I'm gonna get right to it, and I don't know which one to do first, because they're both, I think, just outstanding awards to be able to be given. The first one is the Cumberland County Public Library Information Center Award for the 2016-2017 Public Relations Award, Large Libraries. And then what that means is we competed against Wake, Mecklenburg, Guilford. So when people tell you that we're getting compared around the state and that Cumberland County has a lot, that we got a long way to go, don't believe it. We lead throughout this state in terms of the things that we do. The library is no different. It's called I Heart My Library, which is I Love My Library. And it's because the North Carolina Public Libraries Directors Association commends and thanks you for sharing your excellent work with the North Carolina Public Libraries. I'm going to let you hold that one right there. And our second award is a certificate of recognition to the Cumberland County Public Library and Information Center. We changed that name, I love that. To the 2016-2017 Outstanding Adult Programming Award, again, for the large libraries, for Christmas portraits. So y'all need to go out to Cliffdale Library and see this. The North Carolina Public Library Directors Association commends again and thanks you for sharing your excellent work with North Carolina Public Libraries, the North Carolina Public Libraries Directors Association. And so what does that mean? It means that the I Heart My Library Public Relations, which is right here that we have, is one of the most effective ways that the library has in terms of public relations. And we want to thank you all for what you do for this county. I would encourage every citizen, you know, everybody thinks that everything in your hand, that smartphone works, go to your library. And if you walk in that library and you meet those people who work in that library and the things that go on in this library, you'll find out it is an award-winning library. So we're going to take some pictures right here because they just want to know that I'm going to take some pictures. Oh, I'm holding up my yeah, right here. No, we got it.
Always a pleasure.
So the newspaper.
Yeah, always a pleasure.
I'm coming. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay. We're gonna do a group picture. Everybody gets to hold a fan.
Everybody gets to hold a fan. Where's your fan? I got your fan.
Oh, there you go. I got it right here. I got one.
Hi, Charles.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, can you hold yours a little higher?
So what?
I can't see your. Right there. Hold your fan.
A little higher.
Oh. I hide his face. Look at that.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it.
Charles had the right idea, though. We're going to get him out of these. Propping him out.
Exactly. I happened to go downstairs one day and he was on the screen. Right out here.
Say a word.
You never read your mind.
We're now at the public comment period. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
We have 3 speakers.
All right, we have 3 speakers, and our county manager will read the public comment policy at this time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The public comment period shall last no longer than 15 minutes. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make remarks until the 15-minute time limit is attained. No time may be yielded to another speaker. Speakers will address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Speakers will be courteous in their language and presentation. Any written documentations may be submitted to the clerk to the board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Who's our first speaker?
Our first speaker is Mr. Tom Clark.
I didn't see Mr. Clark tonight, okay?
Our second speaker is Miss Ethelene Holden Baker.
Okay, Ms. Baker?
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
My name is Ethelene Holden Baker, and my address is 810 Executive Place in Fayetteville, 28305. I'm here because I have been concerned and interested in the fact that the adult and dental clinics were closed at the health department. Earlier, in the latter part of last year, after it happened, I had written a letter to, at that time, Chairperson Glenn Adams, and I had received finally a letter from him and also Commissioner Faircloth regarding the fact that the clinic would be open on a limited basis. Well, since that time, I've discovered there's some things going on that I think need to be addressed in order for the people who really depend upon the health department to get the care they need. And quickly, I had gone online and I looked at the Jones Statute 130A 1.1, and it went on to state 10 essential duties of the local health department. And there are 3 that I think need to be addressed. The 7th one, and there's linking people to needed personal health care services and ensuring the provision of health care when otherwise unavailable. The second one I was concerned about is ensuring a competent public health workforce and personal health care workforce, evaluating effectiveness, accessibility, and quality of personal and population-based health services. So my particular group, people that are concerned as I am, we have been doing some surveys. And I would like to give each of you one of these, and you can, excuse me, and you can see exactly what we did. So would you just take one, excuse me, I'm sorry. Take one, and you can look at it. And I'm going to give you some of the examples that we discovered when we took this survey, what we call an evaluation of services received from the Cumberland County Health Department. And I would like to just, you can look as I talk about this. For example, one of the questions is, if you recently received services, are you satisfied with the services you are receiving? And according to our survey, many people felt no. There were 8 people that we talked with more than 8 people, but many people did not want to give certain information because they were skeptical about somebody finding out who they are, which I told them they did not have to sign the survey. But they indicated that it took too long to receive services. Nurses were judgmental. Some of them were mean and nasty, not helpful, had to make appointments to come back, although the problem they had was discovered, but they had to make an appointment to go back. Another, as you can see there, if they are presently receiving services, would they be willing, how many days do you think it should be? Oh, my time is up. Well, you get the point. I would like you to concentrate on reopening the adult clinic and the dental services at the health department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Baker.
Our third and last speaker is Chief District Court Judge Robert Steele.
Welcome, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Robert Steele. My address is 117 Dick Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I just wanted to give you a little FYI information tonight. Some of you are familiar with the Community Jail Initiative. It's a volunteer judge, prosecutor, public defender, jail staff, members that are volunteering their time over and above regular court time. Court is held 2 to 4 times a month, 8 a.m. detention center. Staffings are twice a month. By chance today was a staffing opportunity from 2 to 3:30. The goal is to identify those members of the Cumberland County jail population that are nonviolent, have mental illness, and to help facilitate other programs in place like Stepping Up and the MCAT program. And today was a especially eye-opening day, and I wanted to share with you what was going on. When I left the office at 6:20 today, we had 752 people housed in our Cumberland County Jail. Some of them are there on a pretrial basis. Some of them have been convicted and are serving their misdemeanor time or their time in connection with an offense. Of the 5 individuals our group looked at in staff, I needed to share some stats associated with 3 of the individuals. The first individual had been arrested 67 times, had diagnosed mental health issues. And I wanted to share that with you because if you average perhaps 10 days per arrest, rarely, Mr. Booth may add, do people come to court within 10 days. If you can't make your bond, you sit in jail until your court date. Take 10 days times 67 times what may be the average cost for us per person over there, 85 a day, comes out to $56,950 associated with this particular citizen who suffers from mental illness. The second discussion centered around an individual who had called the ambulance service 367 times. Conservative estimates put that call at a cost to taxpayers about $900. That's $330,000 and $300 over those calls. Some probably weren't founded. Mental health is at the root of it. And then probably a gentleman you have heard talk about. The hospital literally was made aware of the 1,000th visit to our local emergency room. One of our deputies who started 13 years ago as an emergency room deputy remembered meeting this individual. 1,000 visits to our emergency room. Conservatively, 1,000 a visit just by virtue of us being keep the doors open. Add 3 zeros to 1,000 and it's pretty easy to figure out that's a huge sum of money. Now, I'm sharing this with you not to impress you, but to signify and put, at least in 3 instances, the cost of mental health as we deal with it and possibly not deal with it effectively on the front end. I thank you for your time. I apologize to all for going over. Thank you.
And Judge, I'm sure that we will continue to have that discussion also because we're certainly well aware of those situations and we collectively are looking for some solutions to remedy a lot of those problems over there. So thank you for those comments. At this time, Madam Manager, it's approval of the agenda time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I would ask this evening that you approve to amend the agenda. We have an item, it's consideration of a resolution for the installation of road improvements to support Project More Cowbell or Campbell Soup Distribution Center, and I would propose that we add this as item 2D under the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, with that amendment, I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
I guess we're at public hearing time.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We have an uncontested rezoning case, case P17-54.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we do that,
Approve the consent agenda.
we're going to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Okay.
Unanimous.
All right, Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, sir. The first case is a rezoning of 2 acres from A1 to R40A. There was no speakers in opposition to this case. There are none tonight. The planning board recommended unanimous to rezone that property to R40A.
I gave mine to them. You got to go all the way down to.
At this time, while I'm allowing my friends to look up the motion, we're going to open the public hearing. And we have no speakers.
There are no speakers.
Okay, so we're going to closed the public hearing. And, any questions, discussions? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I move to approve the rezoning from A1 agricultural to R40A residential and find A, the approval is an amendment to the adopted Eastover Area Use Plan 2000 map, and that the Board of Commissioners should not require any additional request or application for amendment to said map. And B, the following change in conditions was considered in amending the zoning ordinance or zoning map to meet the development needs of the community. The requested district would ensure the lot sizes are compatible with the ultimate goal of protecting and preserving the rural character of the area, and the subject property is now located within the town of Eastover's municipal influence area, which was non-existent in October 2000 when the land use plan was adopted. And C, this rezoning approval is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested will allow the site to be developed in accordance with similar approvals in the area.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
It's unanimous. All right, Mr. Lloyd, we have a case P1752. I understand we do have, so we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, we have a speaker?
We do. We have one speaker
Sir.
in favor and no speakers in opposition.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. I'm going to go through the brief presentation.
Okay.
Subject property is a little less than half an acre. It's located on 301 and Roslyn Farm Road. The current rezoning, again, is from RR to CP. Current zoning in the area consists of C3 adjacent, C1P across the street, RR rural residential. Current land use, single-family housing shown in yellow, SY designating single-wide, DW double-wide, commercial shown in red, and a church shown in blue. Aerial view of the subject property. Hydric soils along the entire property. As you're looking at the slides, we'd like to say that the commercial zone property adjacent to this is owned by the applicant.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many of those little plots or plats are owned by the same person? Just
I know
one
that
more?
the one adjacent is. I don't know what.
That's the only one? Okay.
And that.
The one diagonal to
It
it?
makes sense.
The other C, the other
The
C1?
one adjacent, right adjacent to Roslyn, to the north.
other
The C3
C1
to
the
the
other
north.
C1P?
Wait a minute.
The
C3.
C3.
C3 was north of it.
Oh, okay.
That's,
And this other C1P, is that vacant now?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I jumped in on that. It is vacant, okay.
Okay. The planning, first of all, this property is served by well and septic, which is, we realize during the last meeting is pretty important with a commercial rezoning. It's so important, I'm going to give an update after this on that. Commissioner Adams brought that up. Secondly, it's not consistent with the Southwest Land Use Plan. Also, there was concern that the site wasn't of sufficient size. And what resonated specifically with the planning board and staff on this is in the minutes of the planning board, the applicant stated that his family owned the vacant lot, which is the one we're talking about now, and purchased it to avoid the problem of any more business being built in the area that could bring problems and crime and disturb the quality of life. So that was stated at the planning board meeting by the applicant concerning this lot. And back in May at the commissioners meeting, the same thing was iterated here. So in a rezoning case to commercial to the north, that was testimony given by the applicant. We agree on well and septic that there doesn't need to be any more commercial in this area. And for that reason, and the reasons listed in your packet, the planning board recommended denial. I would point out that at the planning board meeting, no one appeared in favor or in opposition.
Okay. Our speaker.
Speaker in favor is Awad Al-Said. And please help me with your name, sir. I'm sorry.
How you guys doing?
Great. Good.
First name is Awad, last name is Al-Saidi. Address is 5320 South 40 Drive, Hope Mills, NC. Zip code is 28348. Hope everyone's doing good today. So to explain this, we own the store exactly next to this lot. Our idea right now is the store is older than me. I'm 20 years old. It's a really old building. It's low ceilings, bad look. So the whole purpose of this is we want to build a new building. So it'd be the same business. So once this building is finished, this old building would be destroyed and we'd move everything into this new building. Reasoning why we want to do this is because most people rather go into a newer store because of the way it looks, and the ideal newer stores mean clean, which is not always right, but that's just the ideal. So the lot, like we said, is next to the store right now. Same building. We just want to build a better image for ourselves. And I know they mentioned that the sewage in the area, there's no sewage anywhere in that area. So our first plan is to make sure we have a septic tank put in, which is a must. We have to do that. Something else is we own a lot down the street. It's zoned for business already, but we don't want to go down there because of our customers, families, and the area. You know, we talked to them first. We made sure, you know, because it's not always about money. It's about, you know, the people that you work with on a daily basis. So we own, I think it's C1. Yep, that one right there. It's zoned already for business, but we don't want to do it there because of our customers, because of the area. They have families, and the dangers of, you know, the traffic and stuff is bad enough. So why go down there if we could just move it down to the lot right next to us? We're not bothering nobody. Build a new building, better image, better store, cleaner, and destroy the property that, destroy the store that's already up once we're finished. New store, so of course our sales would go up. Tax, you know how that works out. So think about it. There's really no con to this. Sewage, we'd make sure we'd fix that. Septic tank, new store, good for the community. And that's what we really care about, is the people that come to us, so we serve them. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. So like I said, instead of us going down the street, we'll just stay in the same spot. There's no point of us moving. Old store. Many people grew up knowing that store, so I hope you guys understand. Anybody have any questions for me?
Commissioner Hack? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quick question for
Yes,
you.
sir.
You referred to image a lot in your statement, and I'm curious to know, and it's probably none of my business, but I just would like to know, do you have any other properties in Cumberland County, stores in Cumberland County?
No.
You don't? This is the only one?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Tom has his hand up.
Yes. Mr. Lloyd?
I just want to caution the board, this is a straight rezoning and not a conditional zoning, so the applicant can't be held to anything they say they're going to do with the property. If in fact it was a conditional zoning, then conditions would be put on, but once this property is rezoned, anything can be done because it's a straight rezoning.
Mr. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. As I understand, the property they want to build on is the new hatch pattern right there?
Yes, sir.
And right now it is RR, but it's C3 beside it.
Correct, where the existing store is.
Where the existing store is. So if they were to tear down that store, they could really put, I mean, C3 is a pretty liberal and flexible zoning, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Give me an example of what could go on that with C3.
Bar, adult entertainment, billboards, to name a few of the most noxious.
But they already have that C3 zoning.
They have that now.
Yeah, that's where the store is now.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of the reason states in your packet, the planning board and staff's concern is meeting the setbacks of the smaller lot for the whatever's developed there.
And I don't know if you can answer this or the property owner, would the new building, would it consolidate the two lots?
If they want, I mean, they could stand up and say that now, but once it's rezoned, they could come in and build another store. But they could, if they wanted, because they're adjacent, they could recombine.
Okay. Could I ask the property owner? And if you just follow me a little bit on this. Is it your intention, and I understand if you're in business, you got to work to your customers and you want to put a nice facility in.
Of course.
Would this allow you to, would the property extend to both of the parcels?
Just the new building would be in this vacant lot. That's all.
In the new one that you're trying to get
Yeah.
rezoned?
So that building
And so
would
what would happen with the C3?
I would take down the store that's there now because I have no need of it.
Mhm.
So the vacant lot is where the new building would stand,
Mhm.
and the store that we're in now, we just tear it down and have more space for parking.
Mhm.
But
So
just a quick reminder, it's the same owners.
No,
as
I
this
understand.
store.
Was there ever any consideration to make both parcels C1 or C1P?
What do you mean, C1P?
Well, what you CP.
CP? I'm not understanding your question.
Right now you have C3,
Yeah.
and you're asking for CP for the new property, so you're going to have two very different zonings right beside each other.
I'm not sure. We want to, like I said, rezone it for business just for a new building. That's that simple. I know some will say that, we could do anything else, once you guys zone it, but that's our purpose, we're just out here to.
Let me help you out with what I'm thinking here. I may be inclined to support your motion, but I don't like C3 being out there. And if the parcels were either put together as both being CP, I think that it might be a more secure area for the community. But that's where I was going with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Council. Son, you may have another question.
No. Mr. Lord, is there you said there's nothing that we could bind him to?
Correct.
It would be non-binding. Okay, in that case, then I'm ready with the motion, if it's.
Okay.
You gotta go, you gotta ask if you're not close to public.
Any other speakers before I close the public hearing?
There are no further speakers.
Ask us here anybody here in opposition.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, discussion?
I got a question.
Yes, Commissioner Fairclough.
My thinking was kind of in line with Jimmy's. If both parcels were combined into CP, how much more restricted would that be than the C3 that's there now?
No more restrictive with respect to use, but as it's advertised, more restrictive. Just to follow along your chain of thought, you could, or anything more restrictive would include C2P, which can allow a convenience store, and C1P, which also allows a convenience store. C3 and CP are the heaviest commercial zonings.
Wait.
Yeah, let me follow up. Okay, so if we turn this down today, how long would it be before they could come back? Let's say they wanted to I can't speak for the gentleman because they know what their business calls for and so forth, but it just seems to be prudent business if you could get both lots. Since you own both lots, you could get them both zoned the same way, and in some way that would be acceptable to the neighborhood and us as well. Then how long would it be before they could come back and make that request? Really is my question.
Well, if they were inclined to do it, if they wanted to do it.
Okay.
He's
If
got a
it-
question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well,
I didn't get my question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a unique question. I don't remember me personally being involved in this. So if it was just this lot, it would be a year. But being as it would come back with both lots, it would be a different rezoning. So next month they could come in.
Okay, so if they decided to do that way, they could come back?
Yes, sir. And the recombination would take days. Just bring a plat in and be it stamped.
Okay. That was.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two questions. First of all, on that particular map, I saw where it was a church at. How far is the church from that facility?
Where's the scale, Andy? I can tell you just a second. Roughly 400 feet.
400 feet.
Yes, sir. 400
Okay.
feet, roughly, approximately.
Okay. And I know we did, Ms. White, we didn't have anybody speaking in opposition of it, did we? We did not, correct?
Correct.
There were no.
Okay, but I'm just curious to know, is there anybody here in the audience that is in opposition of it that did decide to speak? Okay, thank you.
Check it out.
Okay. Mr. Keith?
Were you good? You good?
I'm getting ready to make a motion.
Okay. Mr. Lloyd, how did this become C3?
I believe it was initially zoned that.
Okay. In a environment like this, C3 can be very dangerous to the surrounding areas. C3 can put a junkyard, it can put a automotive center, it can put a number of different things that could severely hamper the area. I would be inclined if the applicant were willing to combine them to a level that was commercial in IH, but took away the C3. I might could support something like that. But just to be clear, if this was voted down today, and the applicant were to come back next month, they could ask for both parcels to be combined to another zoning without a delay.
Yes, sir. We would need a legal description as long as it would take him to get that, either get it surveyed or, But with respect to administratively, if they have that legal description, they could come in next month and apply.
Okay. Does the county attorney endorse that thought?
I agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner
Okay.
Council?
Then I'm ready with my motion. Since this will not hold him up, he can come back within 30 days. I move that we deny the rezoning from RR rural residential to CP plan commercial and find that it is not consistent with the adopted Southwest Cumberland land use plan, which calls for farmland at this location, and further find that denial of the rezoning is reasonable and in the public interest because the subject property lacks access to public water and sewer and is not a tract of sufficient size to accommodate vehicular and pedestrian traffic as well as buffering and landscaping.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion, second.
Second.
Okay.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry.
Read the second.
Would you read it for me, Ms. Commissioner and Council, please? I'm sorry, I don't have my book,
Read the second.
my iPad with me.
What
We
did I
combined
do wrong?
We combined it. It's all one now.
It's all one now.
It's all one now?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Let's
good to
vote.
go?
Yep.
All right.
Let's vote.
In favor? All those in favor?
That is unanimous.
Okay.
I thought it was the second reading to it.
Ms. Lang, I hope the applicant understands what just happened. You have an option. Yep.
Would you
That
please?
ain't everybody now.
All right.
You guys talk to Mr. Lloyd and see if you can get this worked
That's
out,
everybody
okay?
now. That ain't necessarily everybody.
Okay, are we ready now to move to item 2D?
Then we're finished. This is a motion to adjourn. That was it. That's the whole calendar. Motion to adjourn.
We got all that taken care of?
Yes, sir, we
Yes.
did.
All that taken care of. So we
Good
need a
job.
motion to
I
adjourn?
move that we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Oh, you wait a minute.
We gotta get the lady and the gentleman up here for an evaluation, because y'all got to hurry home and get ready not to go to school tomorrow.
Not to go to school
okay?
tomorrow, come on.
Yeah. Okay, Nicole, you first. Talk to us.
Okay. Personally, I really enjoyed the meeting. I really did. I know I've attended a couple other ones, but this was the first that I've kind of, been able to fully listen. I really enjoyed because I like the way that the council really interacts with the members of the county. I thought that was amazing because you guys are just so welcoming. So like as soon as we walked in, I felt at home, and I still felt at home, and I feel as though I speak for most of the people in the audience when I say that. You guys were just very receptive to anything that anyone said. You didn't seem pedantic about anything you said. It was very nice, very welcoming, and I really appreciated that.
Nicole, you're very kind. How about the guy there with the green bow tie? What you got to say there, my friend?
Just to piggyback off of Nicole, I do appreciate your hospitality and everything. What I liked about the meeting was at the beginning with the recognition of the libraries. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. You're going to get a fan. Keep talking.
Thank you. Hey, I really
I'm
appreciate it.
a fan of yours. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Did he
then.
get
Thank you.
Thank
We
everybody.
need a picture. Where's John?
See that? Look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
Where's John? Don't get too close.